Hi, welcome back to part 2 of me modeling this dungeon base room. In the last part I modeled the walls, I set up some detailing in terms of layout, but I did not actually put down objects except for this table and this closet. So let's flesh out this room some more. I have this table here. Let's work on this table for a bit. Let's ignore everything else that looks like shit right now. And when you're doing this, when you're mapping, try to think of a story. Why you're here. What's this about? This nice create on surface feature is useful for placing down objects because if they're on a table, for example, I can place it on a table, a wall, whatever. So it snaps to the x-axis. I'm sorry, why? Anywho, so this is a hallway. Prisons will be over here or something, and you'll walk through here. You'll see it from above in the hallways around it. This is like a nice storage area. All the prisoners get dragged through here. So this area right here is a storage closet. Let's move him over here. We're gonna have a table here. What does this table do? Well, maybe this is the guy in charge of the prison. This is where he would write down notes about these guys. So I could place an ink bottle here, which is misaligned, so we have to drag it up. And I'm actually gonna, no, I'm not gonna tip it over. I'll just keep it flat. Maybe there was a pile of papers on his desk that he was writing about the prisoners, so we could have paper here. A cool thing we could go is into static objects decals and check out papers. There we go. I'm hiccuping. I don't know if that comes off in the mic or not. And maybe this guy was messy, or it's not well kept, so it's got paper everywhere. I don't know. Use your imagination. Just try to make it look nice. I'm gonna go into decaling later, where it's more in depth than what I just did. What is this? Are these machine for pigs stuff? I've never seen these before. Yeah, they look like it. Some of these assets you're not going to have available if you're just using Amnesia. Sorry, I can't help that. General shit, put that everywhere. These are rags. Maybe they threw prisoners' clothes here. Oh, that looks ugly. I didn't even realize that would happen. Yes. Now it won't happen. That's because the walls are fake. Okay. So that table is relatively done since I put that stuff here. Maybe a desk pad. You don't have to go too in depth. It's not necessary. But make sure when you place objects that you have a purpose. Because remember, they attract the player's attention. So the player's going to go over there, and I'm probably going to place a note. Let's say if this was for a custom story, which it's not right now. Let's use some more Machine for Pigs assets, because these furniture they have is so nice. But it's actually not useful here. Let's use these really shitty looking storage bins instead. These look appropriate for the setting. I'm not going to place too much of them, because if I put the shelves here, then I have to put stuff on the shelves. Otherwise they look like crap. So you gotta be very careful. Place objects that you can explain. It makes your atmospheres look so much more alive. So I've got storage boxes here. These are nice because they can't be used, therefore I don't have to worry about them. But I'm going to try to place them in a way so the player doesn't think there's anything behind them, so I don't waste their time. There we go. Because the player's going to look in every nook and cranny, and lots of map developers like to place stuff in really hard to find spots, which is okay if done in moderation, but when done to extremes, it's really stupid. There's also one more thing I'm going to do right now. If the player takes a box and like shoves it in here, because these are walls, because the walls come out on this side, they're going to get stuck because of collision physics. We don't want that. That's bad. So what I'm going to put is this nice, the hell is this black box? These are all new. Okay. Black box all. Block box all. Okay. These are collision boxes. Basically, they collide with stuff. Simple. So that if I put these guys here, the player can't actually pass through these guys, or entities can't get stuck in them, and that'll be useful because then I don't have to deal with them ever again. And I would have forgotten about it. This will take me very little time to actually do. This way, now they're actually really walls. I mean, you won't be able to go through these or clip through them or anything. And these are basically invisible. They're not going to be pink when you see them in game. The invisible walls really help. And if you don't want the player to exploit something, you put an invisible wall there. Be careful with them. They break immersion if they're not done correctly, but they're done correctly here. The player won't be able to walk through those or mess around with them in any way. But if I put an invisible wall like right here, it's like, why? It's just going to block the player, and he's not going to have any idea, and he's going to say, it's a shitty map, blah, 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 blah. So, let's not waste our time with that. Let's also put doors on these doorways, because it's actually been bugging me for a while now. Prison door. We are in a prison, right? So we're gonna put prison doors there. Okay. I can still see through them. It's annoying, but whatever. These axes are bugging me. I'm gonna get rid of them. I don't need them really. Nah, I don't need that. Okay. Sorry about that. I just went dead for a second. So, this is still a storage area, is what I had first thought of. So, just put a storage boxes around. They don't have to be always in the same orientation. They could be like this, for example. Create some variation. You know, getting too repetitive is really noticeable and really ugly. Let's we have some wooden boxes here. Okay. We have a lot of boxes here. So if the player actually wanted to get up here, it would be very easy because there's a lot of boxes to put. Something to put in mind, if you put a lot of interactable objects, it's very easy to get to heights. So I don't think they'll be able to get up here, though. That would be a truly extraordinary feat. I'm not going to put so many interactable objects, just that's a fair amount. Let's make sure they don't clip those boxes, because if they do, they're going to wonky as hell. They have weird physics. So maybe they put food here, whatever is in these bags. So maybe they stored them. They didn't refrigerate them because they know what's sanitation in prisons. So let's just put a bunch of bags here. You don't have to go crazy, but you do want to add objects to put some life in your scene. We also have a door randomly here. He's done. Alright, I'm trying to think now what I could actually place. There's an asset where there's like chains coming down and bodies are hiding in there. And I'm trying to think of where they could be stored. One of the problems I often have is knowing an object exists and not knowing where it exists, and that's very frustrating. So where could you be? Let's put a broom. If you have any suggestions for objects or props to put in, and maybe their names, I could find them, that would be great. Keep in mind, I'm not creating any custom assets for these maps, I'm just using what I have. Oh, these chains are awesome. These chains are absolutely amazing for creating atmosphere. But first, let's put a sledgehammer in because I'm a fucking maniac. This is a tool shelf thingy. You can use your imagination. You're not gonna... People aren't gonna be that pedantic about it. Some might, and I've actually had it, and it is nice, but we're all amateurs here. I'm no professional. Maybe some rope. These are actually just plain assets, so they can't be used in any way. The coal's nice, but it wouldn't fit here. The brick pile is pretty cool though. Let's put those. Maybe they were using this room for storing everything. Store everything. Okay. I'm hoping the brick piles aren't interactive, otherwise they would clip through that gate and it would look weird. That's always why I test for bugs though. And then bellows. And then I don't have to put anything else on these shelves. You can put whatever you want, boxes up here, whatever. Tickles your fancy. I really would like to know where those assets are. See, these are cages. These are awesome, like absolutely awesome, from a machine for pigs. That's pretty freaky. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna put them in. God, I can't remember where that is. Okay, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. Ornaments. Ornaments are good for mansion. I don't really have much use for them in dungeon. These pigmacks are cool. I don't understand their relevance in a machine for pigs at all, but I like putting them. They sort of like follow you. I guess that's the thing with them. I also haven't decided what this is, really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into seller base, and I'm going to see if they have what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for a wooden plank. Also, these beams are just absolutely amazing. I'm actually going to put one down. In a sensible spot, not where I just have it now. Okay. Now these are cool, because then I could put, you know, an actual beam going across. And then I could have like rope coming down from them. So maybe are those aligned? Yes, they are. And I think that is like the middle of them. Yeah, those look pretty aligned now. So now we could actually use a welder. A wooden welder. Inconsistently named welder extension. We could actually go across here. We also ran out of space, which is really, really frustrating. Well, we won't be using the top over there, so it's okay if it clips a little bit, as long as the player never sees it. We could do something like that. I actually do plan on having the player come up here, so I don't want to like absolutely have stuff clipping through these sides, so I'm gonna make sure that they don't. And it does, so let's just not do that. Why don't we just have let's see if it's possible to do what I'm doing over there, over here. Okay. So that's pretty cool, actually. Okay. At least the room is getting a little bit more life now. So now, what I was trying to say before, these chains here look so nice. Like, sitting on these pipes, these beams. So kind of set them up. And these are the kind of things that you don't notice unless you actually look up and see them for yourself. But these are actually everywhere in the base game. Like, the developers put rope beams and stuff on the welders and stuff. You wouldn't notice it unless you're actively looking for it. But it's a nice detail to have. And if you add this stuff, and players look around and they see this stuff, it helps them imagine that people are actually here. So, it's a delicate balance. You don't want to cram it in your maps because then it's obvious, but to have a few here and there, it really helps sells the environment. Okay. Well, I think I've done enough initial propping. I'm sure there's so much more that needs to be done. I don't really know what I want to do here yet, so I'm going to come back to that. I think I need to start on lighting. So the thing you always have to ask yourself is, how would someone who's here map, how would they light it up? How would they see? Well, torch. Let's use a torch, the default torch. I'm always iffy on putting torches on wood, but I'll do it. Although it kind of seems unsafe. Like, why would you do that? Like right now, it would burn everything, but I'm assuming these people know how torches work. I would disable lighting by using this A and P down here. I actually keep the A on because I can see what I'm doing, but it still darkens it so I can see where the light is affecting. So right now I have a few torches. I'm definitely going to add more. Torches will not be my primary source of light because they're simply not powerful enough. But now at least this room has some lighting. Okay. This room is still, the lights mirror each other. We'll fix that at some point. Mirroring is bad because then it confuses the player. If you're looking on one side of it, he doesn't know if he's on like the north side or the south side. It's really confusing. Yeah, I don't actually think we need a bonfire because the torch, the fire does it itself. So that's cool. Well, I do want to remember when I first set the ceilings, I had a crack in them. It looked kind of like concave broken, like this. Well, I'm actually going to do that intentionally now. I'm going to create this guy. He's going to be broken. So now I have a hole in the wall. That's cool, because I can shine light through there. I'm not going to do that yet, but I can shine light through there. Okay, now for the fun stuff. I'm going to light this room up. Well, we have a lot of torches lit, and I'm going to keep it like this because this could act as like a safe room. So you're here, you maybe ran away from a monster and you need to replenish some sanity, or maybe you're so scared that you need the light to maintain your sanity. Let us create point lights. Now I'm going to create a really big point light. Now if you see how this looks right now, it's unnaturally bright. Like if I was to put this in game, that's pretty much white. That's white light. That's like standing in the sun. That's too bright. Now this is a dim light. The point of this light is actually to be ambient. So we're actually going to go into color picker, and I'm going to take the alpha off. And if you notice, if you look on the wall, that's with the alpha off, with it on, with it off, with it on, with it off. I'm going to take it off. So I don't want it to be overpowering. And then I'm going to make it really dark. But I'm going to keep it red. This is somewhat like an ambient light. These are what the torches are emitting. And this color picker sucks. And Frictionals actually realized that, so they're changing it. So now this is what the light is. Now this is what the light looks like. Off, on, off, on, off, on. You see how it's just contributing very slightly to how the room looks? It actually is a lot brighter on my screen, but you could see, I'm not sure if this will render on the YouTube video, but if you turn the light off, sorry, turn it off, you won't see that at all. Yeah, it's not showing, but let's create this light. Let's duplicate it. Point lights are great for just spraying low light around areas to make them a little bit more visible, and they're also great for highlighting objectives. Now this is just a single torch. It's the only one active, so we're gonna make it smaller. Okay. Well, it still looks kind of shitty. We're not even close to done. Each one of these torches actually emits a bit of light itself. So it's going to be a little bit more focused, but a little brighter. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm great at lighting, but I'm not horrible. Okay. So now this is the individual light from a torch. So you can see it's much brighter. And the reason I'm doing it individually is because I don't really like how small the torch light is when you default create it. Okay. So there's one more torch to do. Okay. So now the room is starting to become a lot more light. This is what it looks like right now. There's still a lot of black space here. We're going to fix that, but that's the last step I'm going to do. Then I have this light over here, and you can see there's a torch light here. So I'm going to take this, but this is going to be a much stronger light because this is a stove. I'm going to maintain its reddish hue, make it a little bit more neutral, give it some more alpha, but it's going to be really focused. So the brighter lights I'm going to make really small so they don't overpower the other lighting I have. And this is because if you look at the torch here, you'll see the stove is now lit up really nicely. And when you look into it, it looks somewhat real. Maybe put it out a bit. So I'd say that's pretty fair. Maybe you can see it on YouTube, maybe you can't. If you can't see it, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. Raise your brightness. My brightness is really large on this monitor that I just got. Okay. So this is a stove, so I guess you can imagine that when you put an object in front of a stove, you'll have a shadow. So in order to do that, we create a spotlight. Now this is also good because spotlights will emit light in that direction. So if you see here, you can look at how the light is projecting on the beam. I'm going to cast a shadow, so now you can see, hopefully, the shadow, this beam I have here, is actually, I'm going to put this on. So you should be able to see a lot better now. I should have had that on. If you see, when I cast shadows, a shadow appears on the beam. And we're going to set it to resolution medium because not everybody has a computer like I do, which isn't the best, but it's decent. And that might lag them if you have too strong of a shadow. It's also not necessary because this game isn't graphically intense that you need to have, oh my god, the best graphics in the world. So we're gonna have a large spotlight. It's not gonna be that far. And it's also I'm gonna use this fall off map, which it changes the way it like fades to black, but it's not terribly noticeable. Spotlights in general are brighter than point lights because they're directional focus, I don't know what else to say. Okay. That's what it looks like now. So now, the cool thing is if I put like a box here, it'll have a shadow. And it'll be proportional to where this thing is. So, I'm going to make it a little bit further down, a little bit higher up. And now you'll see, hey, it's a nice shadow. So you can see it on YouTube, nice shadow. Shadows are real time, so it looks really nice when the player puts the object down. When a player moves objects around it. What's my time? 30 minutes again. Well, I'm not even close to done with lighting, but for now, I'm going to have to end this part. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for part 3 when I finish this room up. Alright, bye.